post about optimization. Is turning kill feed off a good idea? What? No, please never turn kill feed off, even if it... No. I would much rather play on 60 FPS than 144 FPS than 144 FPS if it meant that I get to keep my kill feed. No, please never turn kill feed off. No. Schmooze with the tier 1 sub, as well as Datboy261. Thank you to the both of you as well. My moderators are pinging me. I have to take a look. Yes, it was Yako. I have watched your stream 4 hours straight now, and you are my favorite streamer now. I love you, Laku. Appreciate the kind words. Okay, we're good. We've got that good. Let's take a look at Bronze D.Va. Audio level checks. How loud is this? Talk. Player City of God blocked. That's always a good start.
I play to win.
That should be a good audio level. The kill feed is all I need. I can't put my 144 monitor on... Wait, I can't put my 144 hertz monitor on 144 hertz. It was on 50 hertz till you said it. I'm using HDMI. Must I use another cable to get 144? Yes. HDMI does not do 144. HDMI 2.0 can do 120, but you need DisplayPort or dual link DVI to get 144 hertz. So yeah, if you've got a 144 hertz monitor, but you're still doing HDMI, your graphics card won't even let you set it to 144. HDMI doesn't work. DVI or DisplayPort. I use DisplayPort. I like DisplayPort. It's a more modern cable. Exclamation mark Discord. There you go. HDMI 1? I thought it was HDMI 2 that can do 120 hertz. I didn't think HDMI 1 could. I don't remember. I'm not some like sort of tech genius. I remember that I researched it and I picked DisplayPort over the dual link display or dual link DVI. I don't remember the reasons why anymore.
Attack commences in 30 seconds.
Oh, wrong. HDMI 2.0 is capable of 240 hertz. See? There I go spreading misinformation about HDMI cables. Ignore me, chat. Apparently I'm dumb. Okay. Okay, so people are just arguing about HDMI cables now. Let's get back to the gameplay. Dude's in bronze, 1000 SR. We need to help him, chat. We need to help him. He's getting 180 FPS. We know he's running a decent sensitivity. Like with this, tech issues are not the problem here, right? He's got 70 ping, which is fine. Good FPS, good sensitivity, good monitor. So we got to figure out why this guy's bronze. Why is this man 1000 SR? Help me, chat. You're my only hope.
Allow me to repair the
He needs to get good. Ah, we've cracked the case. Thank you, QRM. Citrix Orange. I just checked my refresh rate too, and I have a 144 hertz monitor. The only option it will let me use is the 60 hertz refresh rate. Is it my graphics card holding me back? It's probably your cable. It's probably the cable you're using. Sorry, Citrix. See? How many people did we just fix monitor problems for? How many people did we just fix monitor problems for? Got another one with a 144 hertz monitor set to 60.
So lucky, Tracer.
Sorry,
I'll
turn it down.
I dreamed of joining Overwatch.
You guys would, if you're the kind of person who's like, what kind of idiot would make that mistake? Dude, you have no idea how common it is. How many people know how graphics card cables and monitors work, really? That's not taught in school.
1. Attack commencing. Capture objective A.
Okay, so we've got a Winston, we've got a soldier. Boosting into the left side. Their D.Va comes to meet you. Your Winston's here. So far seems pretty okay. A little bit risky there. So, the first thing is, like, D.Va's not really a frontline tank, and by not really a frontline tank, I mean not even remotely close to being a frontline tank. And you don't want to be going up and close to a Reinhardt unless you're, like, finishing him off because he's taking a lot of damage. Primarily, you're going to want to work with, like, a flanker or, like, your Winston here. But we'll let it play a little more. Yeah, boosting through, getting on the... I like it. I like that.
Time to raise my EPS.
So that boost, I'm not sure what that boost was meant to accomplish, but one of the things that you can do with D.Va is she's got any character with vertical mobility, like Genji's wall climb, Hanzo's wall climb, leap, jump jet, any of the things that have vertical mobility can be really good to use to escape. Like there's a mega up the right side high ground. So if you got the Orisa kill and then you tried to fight on the point and you demexed the D.Va, up to that point it was awesome. But then you kind of like boosted and you stayed on the point and you're going to try and retreat to this mini, you're going to get demexed, you're going to get killed. Whereas if you had like gotten the kill, gotten the demech, and then like flown back up onto the high ground to escape and grab the mega to regroup with your team, you don't have to continuously keep fighting. If you get a pick or two and you don't think you can do more, you can like go back and regroup with your team, especially when you know you have spawn advantage. That's the advantage of being a tech whiz. You teach yourself and learn more when old people come to you with problems you haven't learned before. Exactly. Right. Right. This doesn't feel like controller to me. Yeah, so like you had spawn advantage, and if you had survived or just stabilized or like retreated to a healer, not only would your healers have gotten ult charge, but you would have been able to re-engage really quickly. So don't think you constantly have to be fighting. If things don't look to be in your favor, retreat to your healers, and like they will gain benefit from as well. So that bomb should seal the deal. Yeah, so don't feel like you have to fight to the death. If things aren't going well, it's almost always better to stabilize. And if you can't stabilize, just suicide. Because you don't want to feed the opponent's ult charge. They have solo heal Zen. At least we'll always have Transcendence.
Commence attack on objective.
That's the upside of solo heal Zen. Is that you will never go into a fight without Transcendence. He'll just always have it. So yeah, your Winston went in and died, and like now we're going in. So like, it's kind of weird because you were regrouped. You're gonna die to the bomb. You're dead. So you were regrouped because just as you move from first to second, you're regrouped. But you have to kind of like work or like know who you work the best with. And I think it was PvP. Is it PvP Twitch, the streamer, who is either PvP or Crow? I don't remember which Junkrat streamer said this, but he said that the easiest way to climb is not try and figure out what you need to do, but try and figure out what somebody on your team is trying to do and help them accomplish their goal. That's the easiest way to enforce the minimum standard of teamwork, is don't try and do something on your own. Find somebody on your team like your Winston. Think about what is your Winston trying to accomplish, and then assist him. So your Winston went in first without you. He died. Then you went in second while your Winston was already dead. Then you died. So especially on 2CP second attacks, you need to be a lot more coordinated with your offensives or with your attacks in order to be successful. And this is the same sort of problem we see with lower elo tracer players, where tracers will respawn, they'll blink, 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 move, flank until they reach the enemy team, and then they'll immediately start attacking. But they'll attack the back line before the front line is being pressured by the rest of their team. So the defenders, or the people who are not the tracer, they can invest 3 or 4 individuals in making that tracer fuck off or die. Whereas the front line, if the front line invests, or if the defending team invests 4 defenders in dealing with a single tracer, means they only have 2 individuals worth of resources they can apply to the front line. And then since you've got 5 people coming in the front line, they should win. But the timing is very important. So attacking together is, what makes the dream work. Teamwork makes the dream work. What's the average person's response time? About 240 milliseconds or something like that? Oh yeah, if you DM me stuff, oof. I'm currently 9-10 days behind on direct messages. One day, I stopped streaming, I tabbed into Discord, and I had 246 unread messages. I respond to all DMs, but it takes me over a week on average. So, yeah, if you DM'd me something, Like if it's really important, talk to a mod and they can bring it to my attention if it needs to be done like right away. Otherwise, it'll probably take me a week to get back to you if you sent it to me over direct messages.
Let's drop the beat.
So again with the timing thing, right? Now, this is bronze, and we've like the first push and the last push are always, if you're always wondering like, oh, why do we always cap in overtime? And you like waste 6 minutes, and then how many times have you had it happen where where it's like, okay, last push, it's overtime, and then you all kind of attack, and then it's like, hey, it looks like you're successful, right? Because it's normally because you never actually took any team fight, and overtime kind of forces people to all attack at the same time. There's no staggering, there's no cowardice because it's now do or die time. So the ticking clock and the overtime enforces lower elos. It's kind of like a reminder for them to all attack as once, when really that's the only thing they had to do for the last 5 minutes to win was group, push together as one. So here this is 2CP, right? So it's going to be a little bit tougher. There's no real communication and no one else on your team really even remotely cares about regrouping. But it's like, and it's kind of weird that we're looking at 2CPB specifically. I may just skip over your defense so we can look at your attack here, because I don't think you're going to cap here. You're probably just going to stagger into them for like the next 5 minutes. So, but let's keep watching.
Fully operational.
I don't think there's a large number of 40-year-olds that I know who are masters or grandmasters. Like my reaction speed is really shit. Absolutely terrible. I have it like a 245 millisecond reaction speed. On like a really good day, if I have caffeine, like caffeine is not good for performance just in general, but caffeine does help reaction time. So it's kind of it's a weird one. Caffeine helps reaction speed, but it's bad for performance. And the reason it's bad for performance is because you want to operate on a baseline. You want to drink water. You don't want to drink any sort of upper at all, because then you go up, you go down, and you don't have a baseline that you can operate on. So like if I drink caffeine, which I would not do, I'm going to stress, I would not drink caffeine if I wanted to be competitive, or if I was climbing for the day. I probably wouldn't drink caffeine the day of me playing competitively, and I wouldn't drink caffeine the day before I played seriously. And that's kind of like a carryover from when I used to do competitive shooting, and whenever we went to tournaments, we would fast on like simple sugars, no caffeine, no simple sugars, for a week before shooting tournaments, so that we would be stable and we'd have a baseline. But anyway, so caffeine does, yes, improve reaction speed, but temporarily, and it makes you fluctuate. Anyway, so enough of that. But so 240 milliseconds, I'm pretty much average on reaction speed. And if I'm caffeine, really well slept, hydrated, I can get down to like 210, 205 reaction speed. My 60-year-old father, without even like trying, has a reaction speed of 200. So and he's healthier than me, like he works out. So I think that, more than age, I think living healthy is what's going to be mostly improving like your reaction speed, your hand-eye coordination. And like us older guys, I'm including myself in that, even though I'm only mid-20s. Reaction speed isn't everything. It's not, There's heroes like Winston, for example, that don't really require a high reaction speed. So instead of trying to, if you do think that age is a problem, if you're in mid-40s, GM is still within your grasp. Absolutely. Don't think it's not. Top 500 is within your grasp. But we just have to think smarter. These guys are blessed with, like these young guys got like, the 2 millisecond reaction speeds. Just don't try and compete with that. Just outthink your opponents. Use your experience, because they're all dumb as fuck. They're kids. They don't know shit. Just outthink them. Play to your strengths. To be fair, mid-20s is old for gaming, so. Like most people who watch this stream by now will know my opinion that anyone can be GM or top 500. The only thing that really separates you is practice and like commitment. So, yeah, I think that anyone, beyond, if you're getting to a point where if you're like 60 or 70, by that point, your faculties might have degraded to a point where it's going to make it a lot more difficult. But, 40, 50? I still think that's well within the range that people can reach GM.
Bailing out.
Cease resistance.
Thank you.
A 40-hour-a-week day job is the real SR killer? You're not wrong, dude. You know, I think that's one of the the largest contributing factors to like GM's top 500s and pro players from being such a young audience is because, or a young age group. It's not because it's kind of favored based on physical capabilities or mental capabilities or anything like that. I think it's favored more along the lines that age group actually has the time available to commit to a game like this and doesn't have to sacrifice work or school or family in order to accomplish Grandmaster Top 500 pro play. So,
Triple.
Now show them. This objective has
yeah, human benchmark test is pretty decent for testing your reaction speed. I get about 240 on human benchmark.
I need healing.
And there's no real reason you had to chase them to their spawn here, right? Play the objective. You're not playing deathmatch mode. If you want to play deathmatch mode, there's a mode called deathmatch that you would click on. But here you need to be paying way more attention to the objective, right? So not only would you actually cap it faster if you were on it, but I'm not sure if you guys know this, but there's kind of, on 2CP, a few things can affect how long it takes for the opponents to respawn. The first is that if it's overtime, spawns get delayed first. And secondly, if you have more people on the point than the defenders do, the opponent's respawns will slowly be increasing in duration. Slowly increasing in duration. So just having more people on the point than the defenders will make the people who are dead respawn slower. The people who get killed will respawn slower if you have more people on the point than the defenders. So play it safe, force them to come to you, don't feed kills, and you're basically fucking yourself here. So yeah, this also means that if you do only have one push left, don't engage at like 30 seconds left. Engage like if you've got all of your ultimates ready and it's like 30 seconds to go in the fight, instead of fighting with 30 seconds left in the game, what you want to do is you basically just want to sit, have a drink of tea, ask Bill how the weather's doing, and then at like 5 seconds left, you engage. So if you engage and you engage with ults, when you get the first kill, because overtime will have started by the time you get the kill, that means that they will have an increased spawn timer. So it's one of the ways you can kind of get an extra advantage in the last little fight of 2CP is to attack just a couple seconds before overtime starts so that they respawn slower. Does it matter how much more people you have on point or one just more is fine? No, it does matter how many more. Yep. I have now switched from my HDMI cable to a DVI cable, and I just want to say thanks, because without you saying anything, I would have still played on 50 hertz for I don't know how long. I'm so glad I pointed it out. I think we got 5 or 6 people who have like talked in chat that they fixed their monitor. I'm so glad I pointed it out.
The objective is
If your reaction speed is 360, it's likely because you have an input lag somewhere in your system. So human benchmark, if you just Google human benchmark, let's do it right now, actually. So if we Google human benchmark, okay, so if we Google human benchmark here, it's just this website right here. And this, if you're testing yourself and you get over like 280 or something, you've probably got an input lag somewhere in your system, because the delay is going to be the monitor, the mouse, everything. So let's just do it. 240, right? That's what I get. I'm consistently 240. I said I was 240. I clicked 240. But yeah, if you're getting, yeah. So anyway, just give it a shot. Give it a shot. Actually, for my own interest, everybody go to human benchmark. Just search human benchmark and let me know what your reaction speed is. I'm going to set up a poll. Reaction speed? Less than 180? 180 to 200? 200 to 220? 220 to 240? 240 to 260? 260 plus. Okay, and once you've come back, vote on where you sit in the reaction time. Vote now on your phones. Yeah, so most people sitting around like 220 or so. Cool. Interesting to know. Interesting to know.
Sweep.
You just got a 114? If you got a 114, it means you anticipated.
My ultimate is almost ready. Pulse on ready.
I don't know, we're definitely, like, if you think about the audience here, it doesn't surprise me. I've seen multiple people test in person and get, like, 170 MS reaction speed. It's definitely a thing. I don't think anybody who says, like, between 180 and 200 is lying. It feels really weird that, like, no matter how hard you try, you can't push your reaction speed lower than it is. But yeah, like 170 to 200. If you're below 170 consistently, I would be shocked. That's pretty crazy.
Surrender to my will.
Routing power forward shield.
Yeah, we're gonna skip to your attack, because fucking watching 2CP defend or attack, you just stagger in constantly is boring as hell. Let's watch your defense here. What do you do if you have a 260 millisecond reaction speed? If you got a 260 plus millisecond reaction speed on human benchmark, test your reaction speed in some other way off of your computer. You can do a test where another person like holds a ruler. Okay, so if you have a shitty reaction speed, here's what you do. Get a friend or somebody to hold a ruler right above your hand. So hold your hand kind of like in a grasp like that, and then you hold the tip of the ruler right above your fingers. And then they release the ruler at a random point in time, and you close your hand on the ruler. And you can test your reaction speed based on like the centimeters on the ruler where you grabbed it. So if you do some math, you can figure out the exact millisecond delay that it took for them to release the ruler, it to start falling for you to grab it, just based on physics, right? So that if you do that test IRL, it will tell you if your reaction speed is actually terrible, or if you have like an input lag in your system somewhere. So that method is like really inaccurate, but it's probably one of the easier methods to test. You'll probably only get like a 20 millisecond window or something in there, but yeah, that's one of the ways. The first thing, if you have a shitty reaction time on human benchmark, the first thing you have to figure out is that your actual reaction speed that's slow, or is that reaction speed an input lag in your system?
I play to win. Oi, this is no time.
If you guys, like, I honestly, I see you guys in the chat bitching about how I'm not doing VOD reviews. I'm not going to just mindlessly grind out reviews without no distractions. I enjoy the rants, I enjoy the off-topic tangents, and if you don't like it, these get edited and put up on YouTube. Like, if you are just here for the VOD reviews, YouTube. I'm sorry that I'm not pleasing you.
Thanks.
Not my preference to see to matters personally, but I will see them done. I'm with you.
At
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
I'll enjoy the quiet while it lasts.
Oh man.
For a good fight.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Is there a way that you can test if your PC has significant input lag? I don't know of one.
Attackers incoming.
Aw.
Defend objective.
Thanks,
A.
TJR. What is your Bastion's position? That's pretty funny. You're kind of stuck between wanting to support your Reinhardt and wanting to protect your Bastion. So I know you don't use comms, but like we talk about this a lot on this stream, but your teammates are dumb. Your enemies are dumb, and we're hoping that you are just a little bit less dumb than everyone else in your group. So, in order to, like, it's one of the things that you can do to reduce the randomness of your games or whatnot is to make your teammates less dumb and not interrupt your opponents in making mistakes. And how do you make your teammates less dumb? By talking to them and communicating with them and coordinating with them. So I know you're not talking to them, but you know, we've seen in the previous VOD reviews from today in Bronze that communication does make a difference. So, you know, if you see that your Bastion and your Reinhardt are in two separate places, maybe you should speak up, right? You should be like, hey, Ryan, Bastion's back here. Do you mind, like, let's protect him here? Or Bastion, like, hey, like, somebody needs to move. Like, let's play together, guys. Like, just simple things like that will make your teammates less dumb, because you can't trust them. They're dumb. Sound cues, right? You should have been able to hear that. Like, these are just like simple sound cues. And it always surprises me, even in like a lot of Masters reviews, Masters and Diamonds reviews, less than GM, but a lot of reviews that I see in Diamond and Masters, people just don't react to sound cues. And I'm, of course, like, I'm listening to a recording of this, and I can tell pretty much immediately when that Mercy started to res and where she was, right? So if we find another opportunity, I'll pause it based off a sound cue, and I'll ask you where something was. But you need to have a reaction based on not just sight, but on sound as well. Sound is a critical component of Overwatch. It's not something you can ignore. If you don't play on headphones or a headset, you're at a disadvantage, just straight up. The directional sound in Overwatch is really quite good. I don't know why you charged after the Ryan after he already died.
You'd be wise to stay out of my sight.
So, and another thing to just remember on D.Va, and I know that D.Va is probably like the second most popular character in the game, either like the second or the first most popular in the game right now. And a lot of things that, like something that a lot of D.Va players just simply do not realize is that them dying is way more impactful than somebody else dying. Okay, so D.Va, you know, the mech itself is 600. You know, assuming that she didn't get any heals, and then Minnie is 150. So she's got 750 HP of health pool. Now, let's assume that your healers aren't complete asshats, and they actually healed you a bit. Let's just be generous and think that they only healed you 250 health. So, if the enemy kills you, they dealt 1,000 damage to you. Being generous. And this can get a lot worse. This can get a lot worse than 1,000. So remember that you dying as D.Va can be more than 5 times as bad as in like a friendly squishy dying. Because you feed them so much ult charge. And they will have more ultimates to fight you. So, in order to kind of just... Ooh, the drop shatter! That was dope as fuck! I want that Ryan's autograph. You feed, if you feed once, and your soldier feeds like 4 times, you, like, in terms of like, not time lost, but like ult economy or ult charge fed to the opponent, you are still the problem.
Gemeinsam kämpfen wir.
Oh, you're gonna kill him? He's like 1. Eat him. Oh, he's gonna get the mini. You're dead. Dang, so close. Have you noticed that at times they keep shooting despite looking away from the enemy completely and seemingly on purpose? Yeah, that's like trigger discipline. It happens all the way up to Diamond. People shooting when they're not on target and shooting when they're like turning around and things like that. It's pretty common. It's not a huge error until we get to the point where you're actually losing 1v1s because of that error.
Protect the objective.
60 seconds remaining.
다시 한판 해보자고. We have to stop them.
Yeah, could have stolen the health pack, could have had better aim, could have zoned him out with movement. There's a lot of things you could have done. None of those will actually help a person climb out of bronze, though. Those are too nitpicky of a problem for me to poke it up, or to point it out. Now they've got a Bastion, right? So sound cues. You should have seen the bullets from the Bastion and known that the Bastion was there. And with your Rhine on the point, your only bet right now is to pretty much suicide your mech onto him and then try and finish him off with Mini D.Va. Like 90% chance it'll fail, but if you ignore him, it's 100% chance to fail.
No one
30
can hide
seconds
from my
remaining.
sight.
Objective yes. New defense point. Objective B.
Oh, Death Blossom's... Oh, I don't think he has Death Blossom back yet. Your Mercy's down, but their Moira's down. And this is another thing. So this kind of situation here, right? Does anyone know? Type it in chat if you know D.Va's fall-off range. Does anyone... Do you guys... Did you just hear the word fall-off? And if you just went, what the fuck is fall-off? Well, you're about to learn some things. Anybody want to type in chat what D.Va's fall-off range is? First one to post it wins a cookie. Dark Quake wins it. It's 10 meters. It's 10 meters. Wow, fuck ton of you guys got it wrong. It's 10 meters. So, D.Va does reduced damage past 10 meters. And I think it's 10 to 20 meters. So, your pellet, after it leaves your gun, man, you guys are about to get learned. You're about to get learned on. So, this is damage. And this is distance. Okay, so Overwatch works based off of fall-off as many other games do. So I think D.Va's pellets start at 2 damage and go down to 0.6? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I think at max fall-off, 0.6 is what the pellet damage does. I think. Someone correct me if this number is wrong. Can somebody look up what min damage per pellet is for D.Va? But basically what this works is that there's going to be 2 distances for every character that has fall-off. There's going to be a starting distance for fall-off and an ending distance for fall-off. And then on D.Va, this is 10 and 20 meters. So what happens is that if you're correct, perfect. So if you're within 1 to 10 meters, your pellets do 2 damage. Okay? Then between 10 and 20 meters, because past 20 meters, you do 0.6 damage per pellet. And between this is a linear progression. So this is the damage that you do based on range. However, what this does not include spread and does not include tracking. Okay? So if tracking is the more significant issue, then it's better to sit at or beyond fall-off. If spread is the issue, you basically want to sit at or closer to the distance where spread will allow for all of your pellets to hit. Now, because if we incorporate the damage reduction from spread and tracking, the actual damage graph looks like... Not quite that. That was a bad line. That was a bad line. Ignore that line. So, because it's really fucking hard to track things at like 0 distance to you, your actual applied damage will look a lot more like that. So this spot here, where you are doing the maximum actual applied damage, is called your optimal range. And you have to figure out what D.Va's optimal range is. Now, D.Va's optimal range, because she has just a ridiculous spread, is... Fuck, I want to use pen, not eraser. Her optimal range is somewhere in, like, 4 to 7 meters. It's probably in here. You don't want to be, like, closer than 4 meters unless it's really easy to track, because it can be very difficult to track things. So, like, the better your tracking is, the closer you can get and land more headshots. But, like, this is more or less, like, D.Va's optimal range in here. And you were shooting in around, like, this range. So you're basically doing fuck all. Tracer's optimal range, Tracer also has a fall-off range of 10. So she wants to sit... Her optimal range for Tracer is 7 meters. And the reason it's 7 meters is because it's a nice combination of spread, tracking, and it puts her in a great distance to do blink combos with like melees and pulse bombs and things. So Tracer's optimal is 7. Soldier has a fall-off of like 33, right? So his spread, because his spread is more impactful than his tracking, it's better to sit like between 20 and 30 meters on Soldier. But if you play a DPS hero and you haven't considered your optimal range, your tracking, how spread, tracking, and damage and all this affects it, then you have to kind of think about what the optimal range for your character is to play, and this controls positioning. There you go. That controls positioning. So for projectiles, the only factor is tracking. Like, not necessarily, because Maze, right-click, Maze Icicle has a fall-off. Some projectiles do have fall-off. Roadhog Shotgun? Is there any other example? Yeah, Maze right-click has fall-off. Torbs doesn't. Doomfist doesn't. Isn't Reaper hit scan? I think Reaper's shotgun is hit scan. Am I crazy? I don't remember. I don't remember off the top of my head. Too many things to remember. I don't remember shotguns very well. Orisa does not have fall off. Orisa has no fall off. Zen has no fall off. Sim right click doesn't have fall off. But yeah, things to think about. McCree has fall off. Yes, absolutely McCree has fall off. He's hit scan though. And the question was about projectiles.
Now we're talking.
Micro missiles don't have fall off either.
My will.
Widow has no fall off. No, Widow has no fall off. Like you can all look this up. If you have a question about something specific, just look it up on the wiki. Mei does have fall off, and they introduced that because Sniper Mei meta in season 2 was fucking cancer. Hated that meta.
I'm on fire.
Go. I'll be watching over you.
Allow me to repair the damage.
No one can hide from my sight.
There he did it again, where he just like kept shooting as he looked into a wall. That was really weird. So yeah, like, my biggest problem with your play is that you just don't seem to really acknowledge that your team exists or play around them. Solid. Yes. Like, I'm not even going to correct your D.Va bombs. Like, we've talked about this before, where there's, like, one of the things that really pisses me off about Reddit is when there's a thread or something and it's like, how to get to gold or something, and it gives some like really, really weird cheese strat that will climb a person from silver to gold. And if you use those cheese strats, it might get you from silver to gold, but then that same strategy might actually prevent you from getting to platinum. And like, flanking McCree is a perfect example of this. If you flank with McCree to kill supports and high noon from behind people, that will get you to plat so easily. That strategy is so strong. But if you keep trying to do that, you're not going to get out of plat, because people above plat are just going to fuck you up if you try that shit. So, yeah, like, I don't have any real problem with your bombs, because it's not necessarily a bad habit the way you're using them, and it will help you climb up to this point. So until your bombs become the reason why you are not climbing, I don't think it's relevant to teach you the proper way to bomb. Just straight up. So, interesting clip. Interesting clip. Thanks for sharing
Play of the game.
Oh man, let's do some more Guess My SR stuff.